Hello everyone. Since we have nothing to do and all the shops are out of pasta, I thought I'll do a little tutorial on how to make fresh pasta without a pasta machine, because not everyone has one, and it's fun. All you need is flour. This is all the flour I had. It's just plain flour. It's best if you have a double O flour because it gives your pasta a better texture, but this works fine. I had about 320 grams left. I've used 300 here, and I've got 20-30 grams left for dusting. I have 3 eggs and 1 egg yolks beaten. Basically the rule is if you have 300 grams of flour, you add 3 eggs, so 100 grams of flour, 1 egg. So that's that. And olive oil is optional. You can add a little bit to your eggs when you're mixing the pasta. It makes it easier to roll, and it gives you a nicer, springier dough. So let's do it. I'm just gonna dust the surface, and basically what you want to do, you want to put all your flour and you want to make a well in the middle. So make it big. Don't be scared of making a well. And this is optional. If you don't have olive oil, don't worry. You add like maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon of olive oil to your egg mixture. Make sure it's beaten well, and you just pour the eggs in the middle of the well. So now you start to slowly beat it and incorporate the flour into your egg mix, and do it slowly. You don't need to rush. So just take a little bit of flour from the edge and carry on beating. I added the extra egg yolk just because it gives a nicer color to the pasta. You get like a more yellowy pasta. So once it's kind of beaten, use your hands to bring the rest of the flour in and just work it. Keep kneading, and you see your pasta dough forming, and you just have to keep kneading it and keep kneading and see if it's too dry. You can add a little drop of water, just like tiny little droplets, and just keep really going at it. So this has been kneaded for about 10 minutes, and you can see it's really smooth and really easy to work with. A good test to see if it's ready is to just push it and see that bouncing back. If it doesn't bounce back, knead it a bit more, but if it does bounce back, you can just leave it, cover it with a cling film and leave it to rest for about half an hour to an hour, and then you can start working with it. Okay guys, so I've left this to rest for just over an hour, and as you can see, it's quite a relaxed dough, so it's very smooth. What you want to do to make it easier for you to work with, you can divide this into sections. So just imagine a wheel. You just cut, and it kind of gives you even portions to work with. So leave Leave these ones aside and just work with one for now. So I want to dust my surface. And you start rolling. And you want to make it roll into a really nice triangle. So if you get odd shapes like this, in order to stop it from going wonky, you can carry on putting these bits back into the fold and carry on rolling it out. That way you get less wonky shapes on the sides. You want to make it as thin as possible. So basically you want to get it thin enough so that you can see your fingers through it. We have a nice thin layer of pasta. If I bring it closer, you can easily see my fingers through it. Don't be scared to make it as thin as possible. The thinner, the more even it cooks, and the tastier it is, because otherwise it would be quite doughy and it might not even cook properly. So you'll be having either raw pasta or really doughy flavored pasta. Right, so what you want to do now, you can fold this like a little envelope, and then you fold it back onto itself, just like that. So you trim the edges, and then you make as thin or thick a cut as you like. If you're making thin pasta, you go for really thin slices. And then you open it up. I mean, it's not with a machine, so you're not gonna get perfect pastas, but it's rustic. You've made it with hand. So yeah, this is your basic pasta, and you just keep opening them up. And there you have lovely pasta. I mean, I would say this is one portion, depending on how much you eat. That's just my one portion. And you can carry on with this, with the rest of the portions of your pasta, or you can make other types of pasta. Okay, so this is another thin layer of pasta. You do the same as before. You fold it into the middle. And you can, if you see bits that are still thick, I mean, it's not a machine, it's not perfect, you can just cut it to the side and use it later for the rest of your dough. So, back here, a bit more in the middle. Fold it back. Trim the edges. So you do thicker cuts for this one. You open it up. Roll it out. And cut little squares. And you can make little bow pastas, so you just pinch the corners and then press it in the middle. little bow-shaped pasta. So again, pinch that in the corner and then put them together. Again, I mean, this is a little bit more time consuming than normal pasta, but it's fun to do. So you have ridged edged bows. We're gonna make strozzapreti pasta. So it's like little tubes, pasta tubes. I don't know how to explain it better. They're nice to keep the flavor in, depending on what pasta dish you're making, but they're one of my favorites. Fold it on again. And you do thin slices. Get rid of the edges. And make sure that your pasta is always floured and dry, otherwise they will stick to each other. Open it up. And what you want to do is cut this into even slices. So what you do with these is that you just put it in the palm of your hands, and it works better if you wash the flour off your hands for this one so that it rolls easier. And there you go. You just roll it, and there you have it. For this next one, you roll your pasta into a thin tube. If it does get longer than your table, you can always cut it and work with two separate ones. So I don't have all the space in the world, but there. So you then should be okay. So you then cut it into small pieces. Okay, for this one, you get a skewer or a toothpick, whatever, chopsticks, and you press it down and you pull it away from you and flatten it at the same time as you roll it towards, you press it a downward motion. So then you take it out and you have a fusilli pasta. There you go. So you start from the edge and you press it down, and as you roll away from you, you roll the pasta down so that it spirals against itself. There. There. So here we have tagliatelle, strozzapreti, fusilli and pappardelle pasta. Easy peasy. So here we go. I hope this was helpful. It kept me occupied, and if it made you want to go and make pasta, then even better. I'm gonna show you how to make a really quick and fun recipe with tagliatelle. It requires minimal ingredients and it's tasty, and it's what I'm gonna have for dinner.